in all those different roles that you've had over the years, Washington Post, Comcast, Primer, Flypower, there was also an evolution in technical capabilities and the kinds of underlying technologies. AI in particular has been moving very quickly. Tell us a bit about how the technology has changed over time and how that relates to the kind of work that you do as a product manager and the kinds of products that you develop as a co-founder.
Yeah, no, sure. I've actually been giving this a lot of thought because I have a lot of customers ask me like, well, you know, well, doesn't AI need a lot of data? And they ask me a lot of things that I actually started to think about how to frame this for other people to understand. Like if you think about it, initially we had human beings, right? Human beings were making all the decisions, right? Your IT team at a software company might have been there to fix your computer, help make sure your word processing software was up to date, and maybe to automate some complex computations. But primarily, like for instance, at the Washington Post, your IT team was doing all these things, but the basically the news editors, the writers were the ones doing all the heavy lifting of actually producing the paper. And so this, of course, is limited by the number of hours per day and the number of people that the Post could actually afford to hire, right, in a given time period. And then you kind of got rule-based software came along. So rule-based software is what I would define as a series of if-then statements, right, that execute until it reaches a conclusion. And so using that Post analogy a little bit more. So at the Post, when this came out, they got really excited about this. And they're like, oh, wait, we don't have to fully write these articles out. We can. So they actually started to use this in the sports section initially. So they're like, okay, from the game last night, we'll just fill out the teams and the score, and it'll write the article itself. And so it's like a Mad Libs type style format, if you think about it. And so this, though, there were, this was the breakthrough at the time, right? We had Mad Lib style if-then statements, producing, some sort of output. Then you had classic AI, and classic AI is a term I use in my discussion with clients. And this refers to the series of AI technologies before ChatGPT. And classic AI is what I use in most of my career. It gained widespread popularity when Amazon came out with their recommendation engine in the late 90s. But it was used long before that. Financial institutions, car companies, the US Postal Service used it to determine where to send your mail. But once Amazon kind of break through with their recommendation engine, companies like the Washington Post followed soon after. And so recommendation engine that I worked on, as well as the ad tech software, was now possible with classic AI. And then, right, most recently, we had generative AI enter the scene. And this shifted the paradigm, not only by seeming to understand our text, but actually changed the applications we could use this in. So you no longer needed a lot of data, and your data could change. And so it's in fact built right with the expectation that your data is going to change. And so for media organizations like the Post and others, right, they can now write an entire article with generative AI, right? We no longer need these attempts at doing so. It's possible to do so. And I just note, though, I have no knowledge that the Post is doing this. So I don't want to spread any rumors, but I do see journalism. I do see news organizations looking to do this. And the latest, I think it won't be long till we see this happening.